Tonight on The Big Story.
Nakahanda po akong magpakulong. Kung kinakailangang maaresto po ako, wala pong problema.
The arrest of Senator Rodante Marcoleta could soon come to pass. True to its word, the Office of the Ombudsman has filed plunder raps against the lawmaker and 3 of his friends over campaign contributions. The so-called trial of the century is happening in 3 days. Will there be surprises in the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte? Also in a few days, we will know if another oil price hike is happening. The Energy Department has projections. And Pinay tennis sensation Alex Ayala is off to another match. Could this be win number 3 in Wimbledon? Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon. We begin tonight with Senator Rodante Marcoleta formally facing plunder charges before the Sandigan Bayan. True to its promise, the Office of the Ombudsman filed the case before the week ended. The arrest could only be a matter of time. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos with tonight's big story.
3 days of rallies by the Iglesia ni Cristo in support of Senator Rodante Marcoleta. But that did not sway the Office of the Ombudsman. As promised, the agency led by Boying Rimulya filed plunder complaints against Marcoleta, and the Ombudsman didn't stop there. Marcoleta also faces a case for violating Presidential Decree 46 or accepting gifts by a public official from a private individual, and 3 counts at that. All this revolves around the 75 billion pesos in campaign donations that Marcoleta supposedly received for the 2025 elections. Also charged are the 3 donors, former Congressman Mike Defensor and businessmen Joseph Espiritu and Aristotel Viray. Investigations showed that based on tax returns, Defensor donated 30 million pesos to Marcoleta, while 25 million pesos came from Espiritu and 20 million pesos from Viraya. Those donations were not declared by Marcoleta in his Statement of Contributions and Expenditures or SOSE and Statement of Assets, Liabilities and Net Worth or SAL-N. Another important point, when the money was received by the Duterte ally, he was still a congressman representing Sagip party list. And according to the Office of the Ombudsman, as a public official at the time, Marcoleta should not have accepted donations from private individuals. Further investigations revealed that the donations were received in different days in January 2025. It also appears that Marcoleta and his donors allegedly conspired to conceal the true intent of the 75 million pesos. 3 donors also filed their donors' tax returns only almost a year after the money had been given to Marcoleta. According to the Ombudsman, the decision to charge the senator was not an easy one, but they said the basis for their case is clear. The Ombudsman also noted a debt of gratitude or utang na loob may be an important value in Filipino culture, but this cannot prevail over the accountability of a government official. Let's look back at how it all began. In November 2025, during a TV interview, Marcoleta himself admitted receiving millions of pesos in campaign donations from his friends. According to the senator, the donors asked that their names be not disclosed. Hence, no record of the contributions was declared in his SOSE nor his SAL-N. Soon after, the COMELEC asked Marcoleta to explain. In March 2026, the COMELEC cleared Marcoleta of violating the Omnibus Election Code. The COMELEC said the non-disclosure of campaign contributions was no longer an election offense. However, the Office of the Ombudsman continued its own investigation until it recommended that Marcoleta be charged with plunder. Fast forward to the rally of the INC, Marcoleta himself said that he is ready to face any charges.
Nakahanda po akong magpakulong. Kung kinakailangang maaresto po ako, wala pong problema.
While the intense public debate on his case continues, Marcoleta's son, Sagip Party List Representative Paulo Marcoleta insisted that there are defects in how the case was prepared and that it does not conform to the law. He also said that it is politically motivated and is only intended to silence the senator. Congressman Marcoleta added, "This is not accountability but an abuse of power." The ombudsman, for its part, said Senator Rodante Marcoleta continues to enjoy the presumption of innocence while his case is being heard by the Sandigan Bayan. The 3rd Division of the Anti-Graft Court will handle the plunder case against Marcoleta. Defensor's case will be handled by the 4th Division, Virais by the 1st Division, and Spiritus by the 6th Division. Plunder is a non-bailable offense, while violation of Presidential Decree No. 46 is bailable. The Sandigan Bayan has not issued any arrest warrants for the accused. Kapatid Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
It's the end of the week. That means it's time for our chat with our resident political pundit, Ronald Llamas. What a week we had.
So uneventful.
It finally came to pass what you were saying that would happen June 12, nangyari. So, akala ko, multo lang ang nakikita mo. Why did they wait that long?
Well, siguro ay para walang masabi na minamadali. Dahil madali talaga eh. Bakit madali? Bakit nag-leapfrog siya sa ibang kaso? Dahil hindi na kinakailangan ng case build-up eh. Dahil umamin na eh. No?
Pero talagang pinaninindigan nila na dahil yan sa impeachment, dahil sa ayaw nila. Yung selective justice nga.
Could be na dahil sa impeachment, pero mahirap sabihin na selective justice. Could be na dahil sila ay nasa kabilang kampo, mas napabilis. Pero sila kasi nagpabilis eh, si Marcoleta mismo. No? Kaya tumalon, kaya bumilis eh. Pero ang problema kasi, mahirap tawaging selective justice. Dahil even before the Senate crisis, paano pinanggalingan ito yung Senate crisis, di ba? Eh halos kalahati ng senador, mostly belonging to their group, may kaso na eh. Di ba? Nadagdag lang yung obstruction of justice.
Pero kung titignan mo sa kanilang panig, nga naman, kukonti pa ang nakakasuhan sa flood control. May mga nakasuhan na, pero kukonti pa, and as you pointed out before we went on camera, magsusona na ang Pangulo, kailangan niya magbigay ng report a year after his mahiya naman kayo speech, parang manipis.
Yes. Ang tingin ko lang, hindi sapat yan. Kailangan habulin nila yung kanilang pirmisa. Halimbawa, si PBBM, siya yung naglabas ng 15 na biggest contractors na involved dito sa mga anomaly na ito. Eh, 0.5 pa lang yung nahuhuli. Kalahati pa lang nung Diskaya. So, may 14.5 pa na hindi
0.5 pa lang.
But kalahati pa lang nung Diskaya nahuhuli. Yung more than 67 congressmen na involved daw, wala pa ni isa.
We had Vince Dizon here maybe 2 weeks ago. Sabi niya, malapit na. Well, 2 weeks ago. Malapit. Will that come sa tingin mo before the SONA?
Tingin ko hahabulin nila. Pero alam mo naman na
photo finish, ano?
Oo nga, alam mo naman last Christmas, may promisa rin na marami nang makakasuhan at makukulong. Tapos last March, tapos last May, at least may isang senador na nakasuhan, tsaka isang cabinet secretary na nakulong at several DPWH. Pero kulang na kulang pa rin, no? Kaya dapat maghabol sila para dun sa first anniversary nung mahiya ka naman, SONA.
That with 3 weeks to go, barely 3 weeks to go.
Yes.
Pero mabalik tayo sa INC rally. Okay, natuloy. Pero tila kulang. Parang hindi dumating yung... Sabi mo, 2 million t-shirts ang pinaimprenta. O, anong nangyari?
Baka nakatambak. Well, alam mo naman ang iglesia. Pag nag-mobilize yan, malaki. Diba? Halimbawa,
Yun na ba yun?
1 million
Yung 10,000?
last January before the impeachment of Sara. 500,000 last November tungkol dito sa flood control. Tapos ngayon, ang kaibahan nito, ito ay tungkol kay Marcoleta. Yung highest ranking Iglesia ni Cristo member na makakasuhan at posibleng makulong. Ang Iglesia kasi hindi yan pumapayag na miyembro nila magtatakbo sa politika. Ito yung first time na pumayag sila maging congressman, maging senador, sabi, vice president, and perhaps even higher. So this is a clear political project ng Iglesia. Kaya hindi pwedeng makulong si Marcoleta. Pero nung nagkaroon ng pagkilos, siguro mga 10,000 lang. Tapos nung lumipat sa
Lalong
lumiit, no? Baka 2,000 lang. Kaya nagtiklupan na. Pero
Napapahiya na sila, ganon.
tingin ko na burst yung bubble nila na dati ay talaga nagdi-deliver sila. Partly siguro baka merong rally fatigue. Partly dahil hindi na paghandaan masyado. Although in-announce na to ni Boying Remulla 2-3 weeks before.
Right.
No?
Na the case will be filed against Senator Marcoleta.
Pero yung tingin ko, yung ikatlo na tingin ko mas posibleng dahilan, hindi compelling para sa kanila na mag-rally dahil ang issue, plunder. Hindi,
Parang ironic no?
Kanya
You're
nga.
calling for accountability.
oo. Tapos ang kaso, plunder. Tapos si Marcoleta, parang hindi naman siya ganun ka-inspiring na figure, nakakaawaan ng tao para depensahan, ipaglaban, di ba? Parehas kami ng asshole no? Kaya, di parehas walang magrarally para sa amin, di ba? So tingin ko isa yun Kaya hindi masyadong defining at saka compelling.
But, wala bang mangyayari this weekend on the eve of the impeachment trial na will they make another attempt?
Mahihirapan. Siguro bebuelo muna yan. Siguro mag-lick their wounds muna sila. Di ba? Siguro kailangan muna nilang i-package internally sa kanilang mga miyembro at externally sa publiko na may build up. No? At saka mag-raise ng resources. Medyo logistical nightmare.
Right.
Magpapatulog ka ng 10,000 tao sa EDSA, papakainin mo, sang CR pupunta yan, saan matutulog,
Ang daming
umuulan pa.
portalets, ang dami nilang
Bigay ng
bus.
DILG yun. Hindi yung galing sa kanila.
Wow,
Paano kung
bakit
hindi
sa ibang
nagbigay?
rally walang ganyan?
Oo nga.
May palugaw pa.
Si Isko nga, nagpakain. Kaya
Yun na
nagreklamo yung iba. Ba't kami pag nag-rally, dinidisperse, wala nagpapakain, di ba? Oo. Kaya tingin ko hindi yan mangyayari at least in the next 1 week. No? Hindi natin alam. Baka kalagitnaan ng impeachment.
We can say
Safe na.
epic fail. Epic fail yun.
Well,
Not an epic fail, but fail.
Yeah, dahil nga wala dito yung presidente. Ibig sabihin, dinedma sila.
Oo nga.
Hindi ako
Isa pa
threatened.
yun.
No? Chill lang ako. No?
Right. We have to also give credit to the ombudsman na tinuloy, hindi tumiklop, hindi
Yes.
nag-blink ang administration for once. They showed courage. Ba't ka natatawa?
Ano, that was almost a compliment.
It is. Isn't it?
Oh, hindi, compliment na may
Alam
hugot.
mo, no, it's tough to stand up to the INC.
Yes.
Other administrations have compromised, have given in.
Yes.
You were in the Aquino administration. You know how they...
Ginawa rin sa amin yan noong 2015. Dito sa EDSA show. Nag-rally sila.
Oo.
For 2
Naalala
days.
ko yun.
Nung
But
last,
this was their internal conflict.
Yes, pero ang tingin nila, kinakampihan namin yung isang side na hindi naman totoo. Nag-rally sila dito. Hinarangan nila yung 2 sides.
Naalala ko yun.
Nung second day, sinabihan namin sila, hindi na pwede. No? Kung itutuloy niyo yan sa third day, di-disperse namin kayo.
So,
Nag-disperse sila nung second night.
so you also had courage.
Si Pinoy, hindi ako.
No, pero ibig kong sabihin, ganyan ang kalakaran kasi meron din siling posisyon na hinihiling, hindi ba? Mga
Yes.
appointments in various
Yes.
agencies.
Kung kukurap ka, kung magbiblink ka, exploit ka. Kaya huwag kang kukurap. In this case, hindi kumarap yung ombudsman, hindi rin kumarap yung presidente. No? Pero, hindi siya tumuloy doon sa FOCAP activity niya.
Okay, kasi-
yung foreign correspondent.
Oo, kasi-
Siguro hindi pa nila alam. No?
Oo.
Buti naman, tumuloy siya sa state visit dahil catastrophic yan kung hindi siya
If you-
tumuloy.
yeah.
Para sa external as well as internal audience.
Plus, Canada is helping us in the West Philippine Sea.
Yes. At
ano
saka,
bang-
tsaka yun yung biggest supplier ng oil ng US.
Oo nga.
Ngayong may oil crisis, baka isa yan sa ine-negotiate ni BBM.
Ito lang, Ronald, ang medyo nakakapagtaka sa ombudsman. parang sa kanila may credibility ang mga bagman ni Saldico, ang mga bodyguard. They will use their affidavits, their testimonies.
Not all. Some.
Some.
3 yata, no? Yung medyo rigorous yung 18 kasi medyo may weaknesses no? May dagdag bawas.
Oo nga. Hindi, tsaka nung una kasi isang affidavit lang yon. Ngayon isa-isa na silang nagbigay.
Siguro ni-review nila, ito yung mas okay. Pero wala pa rin si Gutesa. No?
Oo nga.
Yun yung
Nasaan na
missing.
ba yun?
Hindi ko alam. Hindi ula sa akin.
Sigurado ka hindi mo alam? So, ibig sabihin, merong truth rin naman na sinasabi itong some of them at least.
I think so dahil mga naman yan, mga bodyguard, mga delivery boys, no? Although sabi nga ni multi-awarded Medal of Valor Ariel Carubin, medyo nakakahiya naman na tatawagin silang mga Marines tsaka dahil undignified na ikaw yung tiga-deliver ng mga pera. No? Mahiya naman kayo. Yun ang ni Ariel Carubin. No? Pero ang pinakamatindi talaga, yung mga nadagdag, mga nabawas. Diba? Yung masyadong lang. Obvious
Yun
diba?
lang. So, sure ba ang ombudsman dito? Or ganun na lang silang kadesperado to get evidence?
Baka may iba pa silang evidence. Paano hindi mo naman yan i-announce Diba? Hindi mo naman
Pero hindi ba, I recall in many of your interviews, sinasabi mong nakakapagtaka rin si Ombudsman Boying na ina-announce talaga niya yung mga moves niya. Can't he be more secretive about it? Or I guess, because nga nag-promise siya nung December and so he feels bound to, update us.
Yes. Pero halimbawa, yung nung November, in-announce niya na may warrant of arrest si Bato sa ICC. So kinabukasan, nagtago si Bato.
Oo nga The Remulla brothers are a bit but we don't begrudge them that. Kasi masaya rin tayong naririnig silang mag-reveal ng information.
Tsaka mga politiko rin sila So siguro yung instinct din nila as politicians ay ngayon kasi ombudsman na dapat mas circumspect ka sa ginagawa mo. Baka minsan hindi ganun kadali dahil nga all your lives mga politiko kayo Di ba? Siyempre ang politiko may kaunting epal, di ba?
I remember sabi nga rin ni Frank kaya Drilon, ayaw niya mong pumunta ng judiciary kasi kailangan magkulong ka di ba? I mean, wala ka ng social life, basically.
Actually, sabi nga ni Frank, nung isang dinner namin with the Singaporean ambassador, sabi niya, kung ako ay tinanong nila tungkol dyan sa kanilang announcement na bago magpasko, ay marami ng kakasuhan at pangkukulong. Sabi niya sa kanila, hindi yan ganun kadali. No? Knowing our judicial system. Diba? Knowing our judicial system, hindi yan ganun kabilis.
You could have the will and the passion, the determination, but it's not
It's
enough.
not a very efficient judicial system, if I may say so.
Ito, umakyat ng entablado si Robin Padilla. And ngayon, medyo konting umaano yung tono niya, no? Although palaban, sinasabi niya, yung nanay ko, hindi sanay makita ako araw-araw, maapektuhan ng asawa niya, tsaka mga anak niya, mga ganun-ganon. What do you make of that? Hindi ba niya naisip yung ginawa niya kasi?
Well, siguro dahil may parating siyang kaso rin, obstruction of justice, at maraming smoking gun doon. May CCTV, etc. No? Ikalawa, hindi ko naman i-begrudge sa kanya, baka nagkakaroon siya ng konting self-awareness. No? Dahil dumalo siya dun sa,
Nandun siya sa INC rally.
Hindi lang. Yung itong,
sa
Ocular.
caucus, yung caucus.
Nandun siya.
Oo nga.
Siya lang yata, or another one, yung
So he
kasama.
looks more cooperative.
Yes. So, either a combination niya nung kaso na parating sa kanya, or a little self-awareness.
Parang may reality check na siya.
Oo, na...
Ano bang obstruction?
Seseryosohin kayo. Baka akala nila hindi sila seseryosohin, di ba?
Especially with this filing of the case against Marcoleta, you can see na, seryoso kami.
May political will ngayon.
Oo nga.
If nung dati, wala. Ngayon, meron.
It took 4 years. Okay. Wag na nating let's give them that.
Bigyan mo naman ng credit where credit is due, kahit paminsan-minsan.
Oo nga. Okay. The trial of the century, according to Private Prosecutor Lorna Capunan. Will it really be? Or baka naman sa Lunes, mapagod tayo sa mga technicalities na debate bago mapunta sa beef.
Yeah. Well, baka in a way, yes and no. Yes, dahil nasa gitna tayo ng napakaraming unprecedented crisis. No? Itong crisis sa unprecedented corruption, unprecedented impunity ng previous government, na daming namatay, no? Yung unprecedented invasion
And
sa ating
if I
territory.
may interrupt,
Yeah.
yung the latest book ni JC Punong Bayan, yung low growth rate is really due to the Duterte, aside from the drug war.
Yeah.
Yung hindi magandang pamumuno.
Yes, dahil nagsimula itong libo-libong flood control, 14,000 ang panahon ni Digong.
Yeah,
Hindi ito
actually.
nagsimula ngayon. Although marami rin ngayon, no? Kaya hindi pwedeng sabihin na ito ay nangyari overnight. At
Okay.
tapos,
So ano pa yung mga
yeah.
krisis?
Tapos ito yung
Inflation.
first time na merong foreign invader sa ating territory. And the richest at that. At itong foreign invader na ito, may mga kaalyado rito. At isa na rito, yung Vice President. Marami dito, mga chinadors, nakasama dito sa mga kaso. No?
Chinadors.
So medyo unprecedented dito. Tapos itong economic situation natin, kahit sabihin mo na upper middle income country na daw tayo, pero para sa karaniwang tao, Parang, pati namin nararamdaman. Paano, kung naman yan, yung average yan eh. Ibig sabihin,
At saka
pati yung
sinama
mga...
kasi yung mga OFW, syempre malaki.
Yes, di ba?
Oo.
Pero yung
So-
nandito kasi, Parang gano'n eh. So may crisis tayo pa rin sa ekonomiya.
Okay.
Di ba?
So, anong implication?
Panghuli, yung ating institutions are
Weak.
at their weakest. So medyo watershed itong impeachment na ito. Dahil lahat nandito eh. Lahat, impunity, corruption, treason, no? Weak institutions. Kung hindi yan madadala sa logical conclusion, lalong hihina yung ating mga institutions going into 2028. So this is a different kind of impeachment compared do sa naunang dalawa. This is a different kind of confrontation, no? Polarization. Dahil nga our institutions are at their weakest. So lahat nakatingin sa impeachment na ito. Kaya mauunawaan ko si Attorney Lorna Capunan nung sinabi niya, this is the impeachment of the century. Dahil ikato pa lang naman to, pero very important ito.
And so, you would see this as a cleansing in a way kung magtagumpay, an opportunity to show na we can exact accountability.
Yes. At saka yung context na, alam mo naman, impeachment is not just legal trial. It is basically a political process. Di ba? Kaya nga yung political forces at play dito eh. Kahit walang aamin. No? Sabihin nila, evidence-based eh. Sabihin nila, yung mga ganito-ganito ang titignan namin. Pero in the real world, ang calculation nila dito, what's in it for us? For our political future. Pero ang...
That's
ang-
why
yeah.
the congressmen are really going to be more in the public view now. Sila mismo ang haharap. Silang magpe-present ng evidence, etc.
Yes. At saka nangyayari ito dahil, siyempre, ang kandidato for 2028, yung akusado. At siya yung leading for now sa surveys. Yung administrasyon, parang wala namang ibang kandidato. Di ba? So, itong ganitong klaseng political dynamics ay nagpe-play dito sa impeachment. Kung sakaling hindi ma-impeach si Sara, momentum ito papuntang 2028. Kung ma-impeach naman siya, either may plan B sila, no?
Anong plan B? Anong plan B mo?
Baste or Robin, yun ang kanilang plan B daw. So, kung ma-impeach, tingin ko maraming tatakbo sa 2028. Kung hindi ma-impeach, it will be one-on-one. One candidate for everyone.
What if it's delayed until the filing of candidacy, hindi siya matapos?
I doubt it. Baka nga mas mapaaga pa eh. Dahil,
Who benefits from an early conclusion?
Depende kung ano yung resulta.
Kung ano yung resulta.
Depende kung ano yung resulta, di ba?
Pero ikaw naniniwala ka pa bang a conviction is reachable, is within reach?
It is uphill, but it is doable. No? Studying the two previous impeachment, no? Halimbawa, yung kay Corona.
Actually, no, nung kay Corona, overwhelmingly no ang objecting yung karamihan sa Senate, no? Tama ba? You were there.
Yeah, it
So,
started with
sige,
a very
kwento mo.
small number na convinced sa conviction.
Okay.
No? Siguro mga 7-8. It ended with 20. No? So it's a combination ng, yes, evidence, yung people's pressure because of the evidence, at pero mas dominant dyan, yung political calculation ng each separate republic, yung each senator. No?
Political calculation in what way? What do you mean exactly? That voting against conviction would be...
Quid pro quo,
So,
carrot and stick.
so ibig sabihin, nag-exert din ng, I don't know if I'd call it pressure.
Marami
Kaya
kasi
nag-offer ng mga carrots ang
Marami
mga
kasing-
Hindi ba laging sinasabi yan ng mga DDS pagka dumadating yan? Yung, magkano ba? I forget the amount that was supposedly paid in,
Marami
in
kasing-
terms of pork barrel. Or,
Marami kasing klase ang pressure no? Kaya halimbawa, ngayon, ang daming senador na may skeletons in their closet. Wala na nga sa closet nakabuladlat na eh.
Oo nga. At saka hindi na pwede yun kasi may iniimbestigahan na sila ng ombudsman. I
Yes.
think that's beyond.
Yes. Oo.
Hindi na-
Lalo na pag naka-file na, di ba?
Eksakto.
So, ang tinitingnan nila is a SARA acquittal favorable for them, no? Is a SARA conviction favorable for them, no? Bawat mga senador, meron naman yung mga principals na mga negosyante, mga political patrons, no? Lahat naman niya may mga ganyan. So, iba't ibang pressure ang magkukan sa kanila, makaka-influence sa kanila. Hindi ko sinasabing isa lang. It could be several.
Nasaan ang publiko dyan? And the desire to exact accountability.
Hindi, nandun yung publiko dahil, halimbawa, marami
Ibig sabihin,
marami dyan re-electionist. No? Halimbawa, Alan Peter, Mark Villar, Chis Escudero,
you mean pwedeng
etc.
bumaliktad ang isang Alan Peter?
Ang dalas niya bumaliktad.
How will you sell that?
Hindi ko mabilang sa daliri ko ilang beses na bumaliktad.
Andun siya sa INC rally.
Tingin na lang ako sa sili.
O sino pang re-electionist?
Oo.
So, posibleng, even those na sinasabing, sunugin mo ko, amoy Duterte pa rin ako.
Re-electionist yun. Oo.
Pwede yun?
Oh, hindi ko alam. Mismo nga si Bongo, sabi nung iba, posible. Hindi naman siya ganun ka-close kay Sara.
Yes, because nga, may hidwaan sila. You can see that might be the reason.
Yeah, tsaka isa siya sa pinakamaraming kaso. May kaso siyang plunder sa ombudsman, over Parmali. May kaso siya sa ICC. No?
Ito namang, okay, since we're talking about all these senators facing cases, yung threshold ba, voting threshold, kailan ba yan dapat ma-address ng impeachment court? Right from the get-go or pagkabotohan na lang?
Ano ibig sabihin?
Yung
gano'ng karami?
Oo.
Well, yung iba dyan, made up their minds already. Alam mo, sabi nga ni Kwan dati, sabi ni Robin Hood Padilla, pagdating niyan dito sa Senate, i-reject na namin yan. Ibig sabihin, may judgment na siya. Ganon din ang sinabi ni Marcoleta at nung ibang mga, si Aimee. No? So, yung iba dyan, talagang may kwan na. Meron ng desisyon. Diba? Pero, mga politiko yan eh. Yung kanilang
Hindi, ibig
decision.
sabihin, baka naman mapako ang usapan dyan muna. Yung ilan ba dapat ang bumoto, ilan ang what constitutes 2/3?
Well, Kung di naman magpapasya niya, Senado eh.
Oo nga.
Oo.
Dapat ba sa umpisa pa lang o i-postpone yan when it comes to the...
Baka i-postpone muna nila dahil hindi nila alam kung ilan pa makukulong eh.
Ibig sabihin, baka posibleng wala si Senator Marcoleta sa Lunes.
Posible, or doon siya hulihin. Paano lalabas ang warrant either Monday or Tuesday? No? Wala namang hindrance para hulihin siya. No? Walang nakalagay sa Constitution. At mismo yung simple courtesy, yan yung para sa mga kaso na below 6 years.
So, agaw eksena naman yan sa impeachment.
Oo, masaya na naman kayo
Di
yan.
ba? Hindi naman kami masaya. Alam mo, actually, it's exciting but it's also bad, di ba?
Yeah, bad for the country.
For the
Pero
country.
parang walang tigil yung drama.
Yeah.
Para sa mga investors, tsaka na muna kayo mag-i-invest. Papanoorin muna namin.
Eksakto, kahit na nasa upper middle income level na tayo, these goings on
Mas
are a
pa
drag, ano?
Oo. Actually, may pros and cons siyang upper middle income country dahil mawawalan ka ng mga ODA, no? etc. No?
Sabi naman ng sabi ng DepDev, 3 years pa yung transition. We have to maintain.
2 years na lang yung gobyerno.
Oo nga. Ikaw naman masyado kang pessimistic.
At saka yung target nila, alam itong nakaraang quarter, 2.7 na lang yung growth eh. Di ba? From a high of 7 ngayon eh. Tapos yung target na 4, 2.7. Sana naman tumaas-taas. Maraming paliwanag eh. Pero yung output ang tinitingnan natin, lalo na ng mga investors.
Pero ang isang bright spot, would you say bright spot, is the way this administration has been standing up to China, the president?
Yes. Dahil meron kang new patriotism ngayon. More than 90% ng mga Pilipino, nare-realize nila yung pagiging Pilipino nila pag may invader. Dati, taken for granted yan eh. Ngayon lang nila naunawaan, ano ba itong West Philippine Sea? Mukhang si Marcoleta lang hindi nakakaunawa kung ano yung West Philippine Sea.
So bakit hindi yan nakakadrag kay VP Sara? You know, if overwhelmingly the population is anti-China and understands anong ginagawa nila, na threat sila sa ating sovereignty. Pero pagdating kay Sara, parang na-discount nila
Dahil
yun.
in the scheme of things, ang number one pa rin kasi ay stomach issues, no? Inflation, wages, employment, no? Yan pa rin. Tapos crime, tapos corruption. Siguro yung West Philippine Sea, kahit aware ang mga tao, 90%, parang pang-4, pang-5 pa lang siya. Ikalawa, hindi pa rin talaga na ididikit eh. No?
Siguro yun ang challenge sa mga sa kampanya.
Yes, halimbawa, nung midterm election, yung presidente lang ang nagbabanggit ng West Philippine Sea. Yung lahat ng senador niya, walang binabanggit. So, hindi mo nagagamit to sa kabilang kampo. So, it's a question of messaging, narrative. No? So, ngayon lang ako nakakita ng gobyerno na nagpalit ng communication said 5 times. Eh. Sa gitna ng sa 3 years, di ba? Usually kasi...
Pero nung kayo naman, 2 communication team.
Yes, pero tuloy-tuloy sila, di ba? Tuloy-tuloy sila. Isa lang yung natanggal.
Pero ngayon,
Natatawa ka.
wala. Si Auntie Claire is parang she's very effective, don't you think?
Well, yes. Sabi ng iba, masyadong madaldal. Sabi ng iba, siya yung parang lightning rod na nag-absorb ng banat imbis na sa presidente. Di ba? So, may pros and cons din si Auntie Claire. Pero, yung role kasi niya, bardagulan eh.
Siya yung tiga...
Yung kalaban mo, street fighter eh. So, kailangan mo rin ng street fighter. Lalo kay presidente mo, masyadong nice.
Oo nga. Ito naman, sige, mabalik tayo sa, before we let you go, sa impeachment trial. The presiding officers, na-decide na ba?
Well, for now, parang si Win Gatchalian. Nung una, lumalabas kasi si Cheese dahil dalawa lang silang abogado, tapos parang reluctant naman si Kiko. Pero yung optics kasi hindi maganda eh.
Na ano?
Na yung presiding judge mo, si Mr. Fortwith, na meron pang kaso sa COMELEC, may kaso rin sa ombudsman, parang...
Tapos aayawan din siya ng minorya, no?
Yes.
Pero
no?
kanina kaya, anong narinig mo dun sa caucus? Sama-sama sila, ha?
Well, for now kasi, parang si Win. Although, if formalize pa rin nila yan sa Lunes. No? So, medyo hindi pa yun ganun ka final. No?
Can Alan Peter Cayetano, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, throw chaos in the proceedings?
Mahihirapan siya dahil yung question ng Senate President settled na eh. Kung siguro kung walang 13, baka manggulo pa siya, mag-invoke pa siya. Pero mismo siya sinabi niya, pag maka-13 kayo, wala na akong magagawa. Di ba?
Hindi, pero sa mga
magkokota na siya.
manifestation, naalala mo, sa kanya nanggaling yung i-remand back to Congress yung
Yes.
complaint, ha?
Yes, pero
siya yung nag-isip nun.
Pero at that time, suportado siya ng majority noon. Ngayon, hindi. Ang pwede niyang gawin ngayon, mag-quote ng Bible verses. No? Yun. Hindi ko alam kung makakagulo yun. No? Dahil...
Naniniwala ka ba sa, kaya ba ni Senate President Win Gatchalian mag-preside?
Well, hindi pa siya tested eh. Hindi siya tested pa sa ganyang klaseng element. Pero malay mo, baka mag-rise up siya doon sa challenge. Di ba?
And he's hardworking.
Yes, maganda yung performance niya doon sa national budget, no? Kahit yung mga veterano katulad ni Tito Soto, tsaka ni Ping Lacson, puring-puri sa kanya. So, who knows, no? Paano siya?
He will rise to the occasion.
Yes, dahil hindi naman kailangan maging abogado eh.
Oo.
Ano, ang
In
mahalaga
fact,
dyan,
baka hindrance pa nga yung pagiging abogado mo.
mahalaga dyan, alam mo yung rules ng Senate. No? Yung rules ng impeachment, pwede mo nang pag-aralan yun eh. Pwede mo nga i-chat GPT yun eh.
So, prognosis mo sa week ahead, wala namang chaos siguro. Hindi naman kaya
Not this-
pupunta ang INC at mag-rally sa Senado?
Not yet. Dahil they will be licking their wounds, raising resources, consolidating their forces, creating a new narrative. No? Baka pag nasa kulungan si Marcoleta, baka doon naman sila mag-organize. No?
Kulungan.
Diba? Quezon City yun eh. Base nila yun eh. Sa Payatas, diba?
That's true. Malapit lang.
Baka doon sila magkuhan. Pero kailangan nilang bumuelo uli. So back to the drawing board sila.
Okay, maraming salamat. Have a good weekend. And congratulations, natalo mo si Christian Esguera sa anong tawag na?
Cookfest!
Pero sana naman magkaroon kami ng pagkakataong matikman ang iyong mga specialties.
Anytime. Masanay ako ng maramihan eh. Pampiesta.
Okay. Sige. Always a pleasure having you on The Big Story.
Same
That
here.
was political pundit Ronald Llamas. You're watching The Big Story on One News. When we return, our colleagues talking about Senator Rodante Marcoleta's looming arrest.
Napag-usapan ko ba si Senator Marcoleta?
Wala usapan about other senators. It's just impeachment.
I have been working extremely hard. My team over there has been working extremely hard, and I really feel like it's paying off. So these wins mean a lot. An insane match last year at Eastbourne, and I lost, and it hit me quite hard. I cried a lot, and I don't think I was able to watch those highlights for a couple of months. So. I'm really happy. I think I improved a lot in this past year, and I'm happy that I'm able to look back at that loss, and I'm able to smile.
Pinay tennis superstar Alex Ayala there, fresh from her second Wimbledon win. The 21-year-old made history again as she became the first from the Philippines to reach round 3 of a Grand Slam singles tournament in an open era. Her next match is on the 4th of July against world number 3 and reigning Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek. The impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte will officially begin on Monday, July 6. On opening day, the clerk of court will read the pre-trial order outlining the rules, timeline, and procedures for the presentation of evidence. Both the House Prosecution Panel and the Vice President's defense team will also formally enter their appearances. The trial is scheduled to run for 92 days, with the bulk of the proceedings focused on the alleged misuse of confidential funds. Hearings will be held Mondays to Wednesdays from July 6 to the 22nd, then every Tuesday to Thursday starting July 28 or after President Marcos's State of the Nation address. Only 61 seats will be available to the public in the Senate gallery through online registration. A two-thirds vote of the Senate will be required to render a verdict, although the required number of votes could become a legal issue due to the current composition of the chamber. ICC wanted Senator Bato de la Rosa is in hiding. Senator Jinggoy Estrada is in jail over alleged involvement in the flood control scam, while Senator Rodante Marcoleta could get arrested over a plunder charge. Meantime, the Pasay Traffic Office has an advisory on road closures on days the impeachment trial is on. We're flashing that on your screens right now. Meantime, there is still no final word on matters connected to the Duterte impeachment trial. These include the official presiding officer and voting threshold. It is also unclear if the Vice President will attend the proceedings. But there's one thing certain, there will be no moves to prevent Rodante Marcoleta as a senator judge. Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes reports.
On July 3, the last Friday before Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial, senators held an all-member closed-door caucus. Only 10 attended. Senate President Win Gatchalian, Senate President Pro Tempore Tito Soto, and Majority Senators Ping Lacson, Risa Ontiveros, Erwin Tulfo, J.V. Ejercito, Mig Zubiri, and Chis Escudero. Two also attended from the minority, Senators Robin Padilla and Lauren Legarda. The caucus lasted almost 2 hours. They declined to give details, but they said they prioritized smoothing out points of contention in the upcoming trial on Monday, July 6th. No statement was also given yet on who will be presiding officer, the voting threshold, and the fate of Senator Rodante Marcoleta. The ombudsman recently filed plunder charges against him.
Napag-usapan po ba si Senator Marcoleta po? Dahil may filing of charges.
Pinag-usapan ng mga about other senators, just impeachment. Basta ang pinag-usapan lang namin is all about impeachment. Binigyan kami ng mga documents para to follow yung sequencing. That's it.
The House prosecution team will not attempt to stop Marcoleta from sitting as a senator judge, contrary to his accusations during the INC rallies.
Kasi wala din man nagsabi sa kanya tumanggap ng 75 million nung pong kampanyahan po nung nakaraan. So, yun po yung kailangan niya ipaliwanag. At it is not the impeachment which is the platform for it. It is the ombudsman, it is the Sandigan Bayan. So, wag ho tayo mag-iyak-iyak dito na siya po ay sinasampahan dahil lang po meron po siyang pagtingin, particular dito po sa impeachment proceedings.
VP Duterte herself is being summoned to attend the trial, per the directive from SP Gatchalian. This is in accordance with Rule 7 of Procedure on the Impeachment Trial and the writ of summons released on May 9. But it also stated a counsel can attend on Duterte's behalf.
Titingnan po muna natin yung takbo talaga ng ng trial, kung sa tingin namin ay makakabuti o di makakabuti ang kanyang pagharap para sa kaso.
For the prosecution, the VP's non-appearance will be telling.
Hindi na po ito House Committee on Justice. Senate Impeachment Court na po ito. Supposedly bloodbath ang hinahanap, hindi ba? Para nga, yung po nga magdadala ng bloodbath, yung dapat pong nandun, hindi po mga abogado.
Kapatid mobile journalist Merimon Reyes, we are One News.
It's not only the impeachment we're watching next week, there's fuel prices too. Numbers from the Department of Energy show diesel and kerosene prices are projected to increase by 1 peso to 3 pesos per liter. Gasoline prices could rise by 1 peso and 50 centavos, but there's still a possibility that it could decrease by the same amount. Official fuel price adjustments will be announced on Monday. According to the DOE, oil prices in the world market are currently highly volatile. That's because of uncertainty about the direction of the ceasefire agreement between the United States and Iran. Aside from this, the weakening of the peso against the dollar has also contributed to the increase in oil prices.
Because of the 60-day compliance period ng agreement, ng MOU nila towards having a permanent agreement, volatile talaga yan sa the next 2 months. At magsisettle siya to the extent na apprehensive pa rin ang market kasi hindi pa talaga yan ang final agreement eh.
It's been 4 months since oil prices shot up after the United States attacked Iran in February. One question in everyone's mind now is, will oil prices return to their previous levels? The Department of Energy says this could take some time.
Ang suspekta namin, kasi dalawang factor to, maayos yung agreement at makarecover yung mga damages. So by September, kung maayos ang agreement, I think we can go down to 60 to 70 range.
In Vancouver, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney have elevated Philippine-Canada relations to a strategic partnership. The two leaders pledged to strengthen cooperation in trade, defense, energy, labor, and tourism. Marcos thanked Canada for its support of a rules-based order in the West Philippine Sea and for its maritime security assistance. For his part, Carney said talks are underway for a free trade agreement between Canada and ASEAN. The two countries also signed 4 agreements covering energy, labor, tourism, and cultural cooperation.
We will tighten the relations between our populations, relationships that have united our two countries for a long time, because the relations between Canada and Philippines don't only depend on trade, but also on the people who live there.
So together, we're building a future where peace is sustained through cooperation, where prosperity is shared, and where opportunity is open to all. A future built through partnership.
Today, I am pleased to announce the elevation of our bilateral relationship to a strategic partnership. We have tasked our foreign ministers to draw up a plan of action to pursue our shared commitment to work together in adapting to shifting global realities, addressing shared challenges, and building capacities for future-ready partnership.
Later, President Marcos and Prime Minister Carney made a surprise stop at a popular Filipino fast food chain in downtown Vancouver. They visited the Jollibee Granville Street branch. The Prime Minister joked they needed real sustenance after missing lunch during their working session. And back here at home, the Department of Tourism has named P-pop group BINI as its newest ambassadors. The announcement followed the group's courtesy call on Tourism Secretary Dita Angara Matay. DOT plans to leverage BINI's domestic and global popularity to boost local travel. The BINI campaign will highlight regional tourism, local fashion, food, and culture, as the group's 8 members hail from different provinces.
Each girl actually represents a province or a town, and they're very, very knowledgeable about what is the parang charming feature of the town. Like, it's not about money or talent, it's the value that they bring.
This is a big story on One News, and coming up, we have recent statements of Senator Robin Hood Padilla that has netizens reacting. Here's one.
Napanood niyo ba yung CCTV? Mukha bang tumakas si Bato? Pambihira, naglalakad kami, sumakay kami ng kotse, lumabas kami. Libo ang polis, walang humuli sa amin. Paanong takas yun?
Welcome back to the big story. Right on impeachment week, there's a looming weather disturbance called Inday, and it's going to be a strong one. Right now, the cyclone with international name Bavi is still over the Pacific Ocean, more than 3,000 kilometers east of Visayas. But it is already typhoon strength, with winds of up to 150 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 185 kph. And as it traverses the Pacific Ocean, it will only get stronger when it finally enters the Philippine area of responsibility, possibly on Wednesday, July 8. Inday could reach super typhoon strength. Its track is uncertain, but the weather disturbance looks to hit northern to central Luzon. Inday will enhance the habagat or southwest monsoon and bring rains to many parts of the country. In other news, Senator Robin Padilla cries foul over a looming obstruction of justice complaint against him for the escape of Senator Bato de la Rosa. In a Facebook post, Padilla posted the CCTV footage of him leaving the Senate complex with de la Rosa on May 14. He again blasted the arrest warrant issued by the ICC against Senator Bato. He went on to lament the financial and psychological burden the case could cause him and his family. He once more denied escaping with Bato. Padilla also claimed that the Marcos administration is singling out members of the minority. He also had something to say about Senator Rodante Marcoleta and his plunder charge.
Matatapang sila! Pero nakakalimutan nila to! Nasaan na to? Nasaan? Ah! Iniisa-isa na po kami. Hindi po magtatagal, masushoot na naman ako. Walang pupuntahan ang bayan natin kung ang mga katulad naming pinapahiwatig sa inyo kung ano ang katotohanan, eh hahayaan nyo kaming makulong.
During today's All Senators Caucus, Padilla took a selfie with his colleagues, mostly from the majority bloc. In the caption, he even thanked Senator Panfilo Lacson for supporting minority lawmaker Loren Legarda's suggestions, which he did not detail. Now in sports, we have Window 3 of the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers between the Gilas Pilipinas and the New Zealand Tall Blacks that ended in a thrilling double overtime but came down to heartbreak for the Philippines. Telling us more is One Sports correspondent Carlo Pamintuan reporting from Auckland. Carlo, what happened? What resulted in the heartbreak for Filipinos?
Oh, it was a tough game to lose for Gilas Pilipinas men here in Auckland, but it was, as FIBA Media said, by far the best among the games here in the Asian qualifiers. It was an instant classic between the Tall Blacks and Gilas Pilipinas in a game that was completely sold out. I think it was about 60-40 in terms of the Filipinos having more numbers. They were louder throughout the night against the home team of New Zealand. Unfortunately, it will fall apart in the end game for us as the Tall Blacks escape with a victory. You know, coming into this matchup, the plan was to bounce back from 2 losses that Gilas Pilipinas suffered in window 2 of the Asian qualifiers, still in the hunt for a possible slot in the FIBA Basketball World Cup, which will be happening in 2027 in Qatar. Coach Tim Cohn planned a trip to Brisbane where they had a training camp before playing 2 pickup games here in New Zealand before taking on the Tall Blacks. Heading into this matchup, Coach Tim Cohn knew that the defense will be focusing on Justin Brownlee, so he threw a wrench in that plan as he played Justin Brownlee off the bench, and it worked out for Gilas Pilipinas wonderfully with the young guns, Carl Tamayo, Kevin Cambao, and Juan Gomez de Leaño, getting their early opportunities to score in the matchup to really get themselves going, give themselves some confidence heading into a tough game against the Tall Blacks. New Zealand finally got themselves a good scoring run come the third quarter, where they built a 12-point lead, 53-41. However, Gilas responded with an even bigger run that they finally got the lead back, 63-60 of a Gomez de Leaño 3-point shot. He will hit another one, an even bigger one in the end game, as he was able to force an overtime period with a 3-point shot. That exact shot that you just witnessed right there, it will send the matchup into its first overtime period. In the second OT, though, it would be a little tough for Gilas Pilipinas. Justin Brownlee was able to hit a 3-point shot that gave Gilas a 100-96 lead, but the Tall Blacks, because they're filled with veterans, they coolly answered back. They used free throws, they used inside scoring, and then they even forced a late turnover against Gilas to hang on to the very difficult victory for them. They won only by 4 points, and they knew they were in a tough battle against Gilas Pilipinas. So it was Gomez de Liano and Hiambao leading the scoring for Gilas with 23 points apiece, while Dwight Ramos added 18 and Carl Tamayo logged 17 points in the matchup. So after that, it will now be a flight from Auckland here in New Zealand to Perth, Australia tomorrow for Gilas Pilipinas, as they will take on the Boomers next. And the Boomers are still undefeated as they blew out Guam in their game also today. So that is the next match at hand to close out the first phase of the qualification matchup before heading on to the second phase, which will be coming this August, as we are looking to take on the likes of Iran, Jordan, and Syria for our continued hunt of a FIBA Basketball World Cup slot. Tess?
Thank you. That was One Sports correspondent Carlo Pamintuan there, reporting to us live from Auckland in New Zealand. You could hear the cheers echoing through our newsroom in the middle of rush hour for news. And those are the big stories this week. I'm Ces Orenia Drilon, kapatid. We are One News, your side all the time. Good night and have a restful weekend.